One day, you're at the supermarket and suddenly you can't remember what you're looking for. You circle back to the same aisle 3 times, muttering the name of the item under your breath, only to forget what you were muttering moments later. On the drive home, you drift off course for a bit, unable to recall which turn you just took. That night, you don't tell anyone. You just sit there on the couch staring blankly at the TV remote like it's some alien object that just dropped from the sky. Have you ever felt that way? That inexplicable confusion, that sensation of your own mind playing hide and seek with fragments of your memory? If you have, you're not alone. This isn't just your story. It's the quiet tale of millions of people over 60 in the US. People who still smile every day, still go grocery shopping, still answer the phone, but carry within them an unspoken fear. And that fear isn't about growing old or getting sick, it's something else. The fear of losing their mind, of losing themselves, of waking up one day unable to remember their own child's face or where their home is. It's the dread of losing what makes them who they are. The memories, the names, the laughter that carried them through the years. But the scariest part is when that question keeps looping in their head, forgetting like this. Could it be Alzheimer's? Aging, decline, or Alzheimer's? The truth is, not everyone who forgets has Alzheimer's, but it's also not true that mild forgetting is always harmless. Human memory, like your eyes or your hair, fades with time. That's a natural part of aging, nothing to fear or hide, and it has a name: normal age memory decline. You might forget a name, then recall it a few minutes later. You might retell an old story, but you're still aware you told it just last week. Those are perfectly normal signs, and if you can still recognize that "I just forgot something," your brain is still operating in a safe zone. You can breathe a sigh of relief. It's not the worst case scenario yet. But if you start forgetting without even realizing you're forgetting, or get lost in a place you know well, that's a different story. That could be the first step into a condition called mild cognitive impairment, or MCI. It sits between 2 extremes, not severe enough to be Alzheimer's, but no longer a healthy memory either. This is the crossroads, where you still have a chance to recover if you catch it in time. And trust me, so many people have preserved their precious memories just by noticing this early. Picture memory as a 3-part road. The first stretch is normal aging. You can still take care of yourself, forget occasionally, but you know you forgot. The second stretch is MCI. Forgetting starts repeating itself and memory begins to disrupt your daily life. The third stretch is early Alzheimer's, when forgetting silently takes over, leaving you increasingly disoriented in the life you're living. And so the real question isn't, do I have Alzheimer's yet? It's, which stretch of the road am I on? Below are 5 simple questions that can help you check your memory right at home. They're based on guidelines from the Mayo Clinic and the Alzheimer's Association, leading organizations in dementia research. And if you answer yes to 2 or more, don't panic. See it as a valuable signal to take action. Not to worry, but to protect what matters most: your memory and yourself. Question 1. Do you often forget important appointments, even after reminders or writing them down? This isn't about forgetting to go to the store or buy milk. It's forgetting a doctor's visit, your medication, or a loved one's birthday. Things you used to remember without fail. A typical older adult might forget but recalls with a nudge. Someone with memory decline, when asked, has no recollection, as if it never happened. Question 2. Do you find it hard to find words or describe familiar objects? For example, you mean to say phone, but instead you fumble that thing I used to talk with. If this only happens occasionally when you're tired, it's fine. But if it starts happening often and you dread conversations because you're afraid of slipping up, that's a sign to watch. Language isn't just on your tongue, it's in a part of your brain that might be growing weary. Question 3. Have you ever gotten lost in a familiar place? Not in some strange city far away, but right in the neighborhood you've lived in for decades. Maybe you step out of the supermarket and suddenly feel confused, unable to recall the way home. Or maybe you park in front of your house and wonder, is this really my place? This is a sign of spatial disorientation, when the hippocampus, the part of your brain that stores memories of locations, starts to weaken. Question 4. Do you often repeat the same story multiple times in a day without realizing you've already told it? Once or twice, anyone might do that. But if you frequently retell a story during the same gathering, completely unaware you've said it before, that's a sign your short-term memory is struggling. A typical person might catch themselves and say, "Oh, I think I've told this already, haven't I?" But someone with memory decline doesn't have that awareness. To them, every repetition feels fresh, like it's happening for the first time. Question 5. Have you noticed unpredictable mood swings, getting angry easily, feeling sad for no reason, or losing the desire to talk to anyone? This isn't just a personality change due to age. When memory starts to fade, the brain regions that regulate emotions can become unsteady too. You might feel irritated, suspicious, or withdraw from close relationships, even without a clear reason. That's when emotions stop being guided by reason and start reflecting a deeper exhaustion in your nervous system. Do you see yourself in these signs? If you've answered yes to 2 or more of these questions, please don't think it means you're doomed. In fact, it could be a good thing, because you've just stumbled upon a golden opportunity, the chance to catch it early, before things go too far. And that can change everything, not just for your memory, but for the life you hold dear every day. Early detection isn't about fear, it's about giving you the power to hold on to yourself. You know, Alzheimer's doesn't sweep in like a storm, crashing down in a single day and taking everything away. It arrives quietly, like a thick fog, slowly blurring the little memories, the conversations you once knew by heart. It doesn't knock or announce itself. Only when you can't remember who your child is or which one's your grandchild do people realize it's been there all along. What so many people regret most isn't that there's no cure. It's that they didn't act when they had the chance. They knew they were forgetting but chalked it up to old age. They felt uneasy but hid it, afraid of judgment, afraid of that dreaded diagnosis. And then, when they couldn't find their way home anymore, they uttered the tardiest words of their life. If only I'd gotten checked sooner. So if today you're listening, wondering, seeing yourself in these questions, you're already a huge step ahead. And what you need to do now isn't panic. It's to gently ask yourself, do I want to hold on to the things that are starting to fade or let them slip away in silence? Clara, 72, once thought her memory was just aging naturally. She still went grocery shopping, cooked for herself, and remembered her kids' names, though sometimes it took a few minutes to dig them up in her mind. No one told her anything was wrong, and she never thought she needed to see a doctor. Until one evening, while watching TV, she picked up the remote and suddenly asked her husband, "What's this for?" A simple question, but it silenced the room. He didn't answer, not because he didn't know, but because he feared the very thing they'd both been avoiding. That week, their daughter insisted on taking her to the doctor. The doctor ran simple tests: recall 3 words, draw a clock, answer a few questions. And the conclusion: let the family breathe a sigh of relief. You came in just in time. It wasn't Alzheimer's, but mild cognitive impairment, and it was entirely reversible if addressed now. Clara was guided to follow the MIND diet: greens, berries, salmon, olive oil. Every morning she took a gentle walk around the park near her home. In the afternoons she played chess with her husband and told old stories to her grandkids. Stories she sometimes surprised herself by remembering. 6 months later, Clara sat with her family, recounting in detail the first time she met her husband at a dance in 1973. She remembered all 5 grandkids' names and even got the youngest's birthday right, something she'd forgotten twice in a row before. She smiled, poured tea, and said softly to her daughter, "I didn't get all my memory back, but I got the most important part, the feeling that I'm still me." Honestly, your first memory checkup is way gentler than you might think. No needles, no intimidating machines, just a light conversation with a doctor. And sometimes, you might even find it enjoyable. The doctor might ask you to draw a clock, correct time, numbers and hands in place. Then they'll read you 3 simple words like fish, apple, car, and after a few minutes ask you to repeat them. If you recall all 3 or even 2 and draw the clock well, you can rest easy. That's the mini-cog test. Super common, totally comfortable, and used by millions worldwide. You might also take the MMSE, a quick quiz with questions about time, place, basic math, and language. These tests aren't about labeling you as sick. They're about figuring out where you stand on your own memory journey. And if you have Medicare, which most people over 65 in the US do, almost all the costs are covered. No need to worry about money. Just one thing matters. You're still in time to hold on to what's starting to fade. Why go early? Because sometimes just 30 minutes of testing today could save you 5-10 years of precious memories. And everyone deserves that chance, in silence, without fear or judgment. Just a gentle visit to understand yourself a little better. Did you know there are things you can do right at home to help your memory heal bit by bit every day? No expensive meds, no fancy gadgets, just small, smart changes backed by science. First, eat like the mind diet. That means adding greens, berries, fatty fish, nuts, and olive oil to your daily meals. These foods are packed with antioxidants that shield brain cells from aging and inflammation. Studies from Harvard and the Mayo Clinic show that sticking to the mind diet can cut Alzheimer's risk by up to 53%. Second, move a little every day. You don't need to run or lift weights, just a slow 30-minute walk around the house, or some qigong, yoga, or stretching with your breath. That's enough. Movement boosts blood flow to the brain, reduces inflammation, and wakes up dormant memory areas. Some people who used to forget a lot saw real improvement just by walking every morning. Third, don't let your emotions or memories isolate you. Share old stories, play word games with your grandkids, call an old friend you haven't talked to in years. Every time you recall a memory, you're training your brain, like a workout for your mind. Science calls it active recall, one of the best medicines for older adults. You don't have to do everything at once, but you need to start today with a simple meal, a short walk, or a loving phone call. These tiny things could be what holds your memories and yourself together in the gentlest, most lasting way. You can keep waiting until one day you don't even remember your own name, or you can choose to hold on to what really matters by acting now while it's still within reach. You don't need to overhaul your life, just start with one small thing, and don't stay frozen in vague fear. If you've ever felt scared forgetting something, leave a comment below. Just one line is fine, because you're not alone. And who knows, your story might inspire someone else to bravely get checked and save the most precious part of their life. If this video feels meaningful, please share it with a loved one, a parent who's starting to forget, or a neighbor who's been quieter, more withdrawn lately. One click could give them a chance to remember a few more years. And if you want to keep protecting your memory with us, subscribe to the Senior Health channel, not just for more videos, but so every day you're reminded you still remember and you deserve to be remembered. Before we part, I've got one question for you. What worries you most about memory or mental decline in old age? Write it down. Anything weighing on your mind, sleeping pills, depression, post-COVID fog, or long-term focus issues. I'll pick the most mentioned topics for our next video, because this is our channel and I want to speak for the thoughts you're quietly holding.